Hi. It's truly my great honor to be here today. Last year, Hong Kong was ranked the world's most competitive economy. That's the second time we received such an honor from International Institute of Management Development. We're even ahead of USA, Switzerland, and Singapore. Another research measuring global competitiveness conducted by World Economic Forum and NGO in Geneva ranks Hong Kong number 6 of the world's 137 societies. Hong Kong leads the world in another category. We have the highest life expectancy, with men average 81 years old, women 87 years old. For a small place like Hong Kong, these are amazing results. However, in terms of happiness, we actually lag far behind other developed and even developing countries. According to the World Happiness Index this year, conducted by UN annually, Hong Kong is ranked 76. Absolutely appalling. In other words, we are rich, we live the longest life, yet we are so unhappy. So what's the point of having such a long life? I think it reveals and highlights the unique role of BMS teaching. BMS stands for body, mind, spirit. Because I think happiness is a state of mind. Sustainable happiness does not come from outside. We better turn inward. We connect our inner resources and sacredness within. What Hong Kong really needs is perhaps a spiritual awakening movement. Especially when Hong Kong people are now very desperate, both politically and socially. This is the worst of all times. This is the best of all times. Spiritual awakening is not just about personal happiness. It transforms socio-political culture as well. Personal is political. In present-day Hong Kong, political antagonism and social fracture are hurting every one of us. This is perhaps the calling for BMS. When we begin to generate a pure mind for peace and love and practice it on a daily level, we are spreading a consciousness of self-coaching, self-awakening, and collective transformation. Our pure intention, together with our collective perseverance, will definitely create a better future for every one of us and the generation after. Spirituality is a movement that awakens every one of us. We learn to listen to our body, to our emotions, and to our souls, and connect purely to the source, capital S, the source. Only then we become the living example of inner peace. Without inner peace, there's no outer peace. I'm not saying anything new here, because for the last few decades, many spiritual practitioners in Hong Kong have been humbly serving our society. What we need now is perhaps to mobilize, to leverage, and to generate a new culture, which is a new social consciousness and spiritual movement that aligns with the universe. We start from where we are. We start from ourselves. My dream is that one day there will be meditation class in all primary and secondary schools in Hong Kong. School teachers, policemen, nurses, and even prisoners practice meditation regularly. Mindful eating will become a trend for local restaurants. Mindful corporate becomes a branding strategy for local business. Mindful parenting becomes common sense. And mindful living becomes a norm in Hong Kong. Such a spiritual awakening movement might even inspire mainland China, because the real challenge for humanity is not material poverty, but emotional and spiritual poverty. Money, power, and greed are often the source of suffering rather than happiness. That's why we're here today. This is a small forum with profound meaning, where we are not trying to change the world, because there's no outside world to be changed. Everything is a projection of our mind. Be the change we want to see in this world. Be the servant leader we often hope for the outside world. In this regard, I feel that we can be more courageous and vigorous. We can have more courageous and vigorous reflection on the role of BMS teachings. Perhaps we need more collective awakening and alliances among ourselves. We need to prioritize integrity and authenticity as BMS trainers. We need to upgrade our professional benchmark and pay rigorous due diligence in our daily professional practice. Perhaps we need to ask ourselves honestly, what is our real intention to become a spiritual teacher? Let's learn to be more conscious and cautious of our own ego, because glamour, status, and vanity could lead to our ultimate defeat. Our first duty as BMS teacher is perhaps a continual discipline of pure connection with the source on the daily level. The purity and clarity of the connection with the source will ultimately determine our destiny. That's not an easy task, and that's why we're here today. Finally, I would like to throw out 5 questions to consider together. First, could we have regular seminars to develop these crucial issues? These seminars can solicit resources from different parties. We can generate a synergy of mutual support, empowerment, and oneness, which could be the solid foundation for a spiritual awakening movement. Second, could we create more bridging and dialogues between the English-speaking and the Chinese-speaking communities of trainers, therapists, and spiritual teachers? This will help us leverage on each other much better and develop a community of spiritual practitioners from different perspectives. Third, could we form strategic alliance with the corporate world to generate a corporate culture of spirituality? It is perhaps no accident that we reside in a money-driven city here, and finally we end up as BMS teachers. Could we explore more vigorously the BMS perspective on politics and social movement? Because now many Hong Kong people are now suffering from disengagement and fatigue of politics. Spiritual teachers could share the practical tools to empower the public for self-coaching. Finally, the fifth, could we align more systematically and smoothly to upgrade our professional due diligence so as to generate quality benchmark for the BMS profession? I hope my rough ideas can trigger and solicit more people to contribute to this awakening movement. Hopefully, today's forum could spread ripples of compassion and commitment for the betterment of ourselves and the society at large. Thank you very much.